Yo, what's going on, everybody? To start the brand new video for you guys today. Happy New Year, first video of the new year. I know it's like we're in like the 10th. This is being recorded. It's fine to see this on like Friday of the week of the 10th. I was going to record videos, like the 1st of January. It would take like an obvious like holiday break, but with family being home and whatnot, it was just a little hard to do any kind of records. But today's video, the first video of the new year for the channel. Now I got some things in the pipeline. Obviously, and there's things that I want to upload during the break, but I forgot to upload it, so it doesn't come up like after this video. But our first video is going to be a Baldur's Gate 3 character tier list. So we did a companion tier list before, and a lot of y'all didn't like that, which I don't care. I'm not gonna go like on a tangent about it, but I'm not the kind of person who changes my opinions based on other people's opinions. If you don't like what I like, that's cool. Respectfully, it's my opinion, and I respect yours. If you like certain characters more than other characters, that's cool. No, in this video, I'm not changing up anything from that video. Like, some people might move up or down based on like just new experiences that I have with those characters, but for the most part, if there's a character who I didn't like in that tier list video, I'm not making a character I like because some of y'all disagree with me. So they might still have a low tier. So this video, we're gonna do a lot of characters. It's not gonna be like a few. We're gonna do the characters who I feel like are important and who I feel like stand out. Let's get to this tier list. All right, here we go with our tier list. Here's the characters we're running with. Like I said, running with a number of characters who I feel like had either they were important to me or had a big impact in some kind of way, in my opinion. So we're going obviously S tier, A tier, B tier, best boy, C tier, D tier, and want more from them. This is an obvious one where it's like I don't think they're bad or good. Just wish there was more of their character or more experiences for us, the player, to have with that character. Start things off. We got Gale. Gale has been through a lot of patches and changes since that last video, especially now that the game's out on Xboxes as well. There's been a number of patches make Gale less horny and things like that. I think Gale's a decent character. I think when you explore his story and you go to like the depths of his story, and especially when it comes to like his interaction with Elamister and Mystra, you do the whole thing when it comes to actually meeting Mystra. A lot of people don't know, because a lot of people, this game is so expansive. There's people who have not who beat the game but have not met Mystra, who have not done the vault for the tower and things like that. I think Gale's a decent character. I give him a B. I feel like where he does lack is he does get a little boring. You get a little bit of that sad boy energy sometimes. And I just think he's not an amazing character or a great character, but he's a very good character. Karlach, I still stick with her being an S tier character. I think she's phenomenal. She's one of the most interesting characters in the game, just how she works, the whole dynamic with her and Will. Zariel, and then if you romance her, she's a phenomenal character, but also if you don't romance her, this is a spoiler alert, she ends up with Will based on like what decisions you make throughout the game. And I just think, like, even when it comes to like how she plays, she's one of my go-to characters in the game to have on my team no matter what build I'm playing. Will, still a B tier character to me. I would say Gale is better, because again, when it comes to my tier list videos, I rank them left to right being a higher tier. So the reason why I would say Gale is better than Will is just charisma. Gale is more charismatic and more outgoing, whereas Will, again, he has a little bit of that sad boy energy. This game's filled with a lot of sad boys. But he doesn't have the charisma to like make that sad boy energy, more mellow. But he's still a good character. Shadowheart, S tier. She's, I would say, higher than Karlach. I just feel like her story is so good. Like, when it comes to everything about Shadowheart's story, it's just so good. And her story, unlike Karlach's and unlike Gale's, plays a massive role in the main plot of the game. You're going through the Moonrise Towers and meeting the whole Night Song quest line. That all ties in with Shadowheart and her loyalty quest line. It's just, she's so interesting to me, and I think she's just one of the best characters, if not the best character in the entire game, outside of your own character, to be honest with you. Lae'zel, same thing, again, higher than Karlach. I think Lae'zel, I know this is one of the characters who people are hit or miss on. You either really like Lae'zel or you really hate Lae'zel. It's one or the other. She's very aggressive. She's very straightforward. She's very blunt. She's very intuitive. And again, those are things that you might not like in a companion or a female character in general, especially when it comes to arrogance and how bullish she is and how upfront and angry she can be towards you. But she's one of those characters who, no matter what you do, whether you are a very positive person or a negative person, you will likely get her loyalty, whether you're pro Vlaakith or pro, Orpheus. You will get her on your side. It doesn't matter, and you could see that as a negative, but I think like her overall character is just very good, and I love doing anything involving her story. Astarion, still a D tier character. We're not gonna put him in a trash tier. I think Astarion. I don't think it's like his voice acting is amazing. This is irrelevant of voice acting because everyone in this game has great voice acting. I just don't think Astarion's a good character. Like he's charismatic. His mission involving Cazador is good. I think Cazador is actually a better character than Astarion. But I just from whatever it is with Astarion, it isn't like clicking with me. I know he's very popular. A lot of the ladies love him. He has that Billy Idol, Sex Pistols kind of style to him when it comes to like his look. If you like Spike from like Buffy and Angel, you probably like Astarion. Like they're all on that same kind of tier, and it's just not there for me when it comes to Astarion. Jaheira, a lot of me wants to put Jaheira at B, put her as a high B, but I can see her being between a B or a C depending on if you have any care for the other Baldur's Gate games, because she is in like Baldur's Gate 2. But if you don't have like that connection to her from a fanfare standpoint, then you would probably feel your character a little lesser, because you don't even get her in your squad until after you finish Moonrise Towers, or essentially she becomes part of your squad in a battle against Ketheric. And if you don't voluntarily explore the world, you won't learn more about her, and that could make her less interesting for you. Like there's things that you can do in the game involving Jaheira that aren't attached to a quest line. Like you would think like, okay, getting Minsc is part of her loyalty towards you, but there's other things that you can do within Baldur's Gate that gives you more backstory on Jaheira, that are other missions involving her, and you learn more about her, and you won't experience that because there's you have to find that stuff before you get any kind of mission line to tell you to do anything. And she has like a lot of connectivity to people within the city, be it Nine Fingers or some other people who I'm not gonna mention because of spoilers. But I love Jaheira. I think she's a great character. Minsc, Minsc grew me. Like if there's anyone who grew me, it was Minsc. Because at first I just thought he was kind of annoying. He does have that legacy feel, because again, he's someone like Jaheira who's part of another Baldur's Gate game. But like he kind of, when I first played the game, I have almost 4 hours playing this game now. Surprisingly, it's not more than that because I do have 11 characters. I've only beaten it 4 times. But I haven't been playing as much as I usually do. But Minsc grew on me. The first playthrough, I just kind of like unlocked him from my party and left him, in the camp. Then like after that playthrough, I started actually having him in my party, and that's how you really get a chance to learn the characters, is having your party and you're getting your loyalty up with them and you're talking to them a lot. And before someone goes, did you do that with Astarion? Yes, I've done it with Astarion. I've gotten Astarion's ending where he becomes a vampire lord guy and he's still part of the party. I've gotten an ending where Astarion doesn't become a vampire lord and he still stays with the party. I've gotten his loyalty. Relax. Anyways, Minsc, I don't think he's better than Jaheira or Will or Gale personally, but I do think he's a good character. Minthara, A tier. She was actually a low tier rating for me in the first video that I did for Baldur's Gate when it comes to like the tier list, and the reason why she was so low is because I didn't experience her at all, because I didn't want to, slay the entire, Druid village. I'm too much of a nice person. I'm too much of a nice person to like do bad things in video games. Like my brain just can't do it. But they had an update, patch 5, where you didn't have to do that at all. You still get her. There's a whole little thing you can go through where you can still get her to your party, regardless of the, not killing all the druids and tieflings. And after doing that and playing the game with her character and talking to her and getting her loyalty. She's such a great character. You know, I'm almost tempted to put her in S tier. I feel like the only reason why I won't put her in S tier is because and here's the thing, like one of my characters actually romances her post patch 5 without killing the tieflings. And I'm a very almost all my characters except 2 are good boys. So like even if you're someone who is a very good person, you know, this evil character, because she's evil, can still, you know, you can get her rating up pretty quickly and high. And the thing about her characters being evil, Baldur's Gate developers said like, yo, there is going to be a patch that changes how she is. She is just evil. But the thing about her that I really like, she reminds me of Cazador from Dragon Age. Now, Cassandra's not evil at all, but they both have a very similar personality trait of being like these very strong-willed, you know, aggressive women who could be intimidating to approach, but they're basically just soft at heart. Like Cassandra, like you either love her or you hate her. She's like poetic. She loves reading. She's into romance novels and things like that. And she has such a soft heart. Minthara's the same way. Minthara has such a soft heart. Like she's very, you know, I won't say poetic, but she's kind of poetic. You know, there's like in Dragon Age, you do see Cassandra reading books, things like that. You don't see that with Minthara, but like you get that feeling that like in her dialogue that she just seems like such a poetic soul, like a soft soul. Like she has a good heart, but she's a bad person. And I love like having deep dynamic characters like that in anything. And that stands out to me with Minthara. And again, I kind of want to put her in S tier because of that, but I also kind of don't, because, you know, I feel like there needs to be a more I don't know the right word to use, but like just a better way to recruit her than even what they did for patch 5, knocking her unconscious and then, you know, making sure you don't long rest. Like there's a lot of things that can go wrong that fucks over your entire save if you're trying to get her in your party without, you know, doing any kind of like glitches, things like that, while also being a good boy character. And things like it's just too much weirdness around getting her character. And I feel like that does hold her back. But again, that you could say that has nothing to do with her character. That's more something that's just more of a technical thing with the development. I don't know. I feel like A tier is definitely like where she is for me, high A tier. Yeah, let's move on. Withers, aka Jurgle. Some people are like, oh, that's a spoiler. It's not. You learn that he's Jurgle in the opening like moments of the game. Like the second you get Withers, you learn that he's Jurgle. It tells you when you walk into the freaking room and so on. If you pass the check, if you pass the religion check, when you walk towards his tomb, you literally hear your party member or you say, it's a tomb of Jurgle the scribe. And the developers also have like a lot of hints laying around that it's Jurgle. So if you're mad that I said it's Jurgle, it is Jurgle. It's not a spoiler because again, you find out in the first 15 minutes of the game. Anyways, Withers. We're gonna put Jurgle as an A tier character. Below Minthara, I just think he's such a unique character. He's such a cool character, and a lot of the dialogue you can have with him, man. If you play it as a I can't pronounce it right, Kellamore cleric. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. D&D nerds, I apologize. You have like a lot of unique interactions with Jurgle that you wouldn't have if you're not playing that particular kind of cleric, because that cleric has direct ties to Jurgle and direct ties to, you know, who Jurgle worked for and with. But it's just his dialogue with Arabella, you know, their dynamic. There's a lot with Withers / Jurgle to where it's like he's just such a great character. Volo's gonna be our first C tier character. Honestly, C, or he's a low C. He can easily get pushed into D. Honestly, yeah, we can do that. We're gonna push him and we're gonna switch him to Astarion. The reason why I'm gonna do that is, again, I don't like Astarion, but he is a dynamic character, and that's enough to get him to C. Volo, I think, is likable, but he's also kind of like a whatever character. Like you can throw him away and wouldn't care. He kind of just exists. He's more like he is literally an NPC, like in that metaphorical type like way of saying NPC, not like in the hey, he is an NPC. Yeah, there's not really like a lot to Volo. He is intriguing. There's a lot with Volo that goes on where it's like, okay, there's more to this guy than the game lets on, than you know. Like if you read the books that involve him, you talk to other people who know of him. There's like dialogue in the game where it's like, okay, this guy's definitely more than just some writer, some poet, or whatever. There's a lot going on with this guy that the game isn't telling us. Housing, definitely a D. Volo's definitely better character than him. I just think Housing is so boring. He's literally, you could put a piece of cardboard cutout of Housing in his camp and it'll be the exact same thing. We're not even gonna spend time on Housing. That's just all I want to say. Mizora's interesting. Mizora's one of them characters where like, you know, I can make an argument for her being S tier, but if I move her to S tier, I had to also move Minthara to S tier because, you know, they're kind of the same in that aspect of like being such good characters where they can be S tier. For me personally, that gets into that spot. She's such a fun character. She's so bubbly and it that personality just adds to like the overall experience of her character in the game. You know, she makes all of Will's scenes better. Like Will's a good character, don't get me wrong, but like again, he's so soft spoken and like so his pacing is very slow. She picks up that pace. She adds more dynamic to his cutscenes and his dialogue. And even when it comes to like how he speaks, he's way more outgoing, you know, even in a angry way when she's involved in a dialogue. So I feel like she's just such an amazing character. Orn, Orn the Red, Ball Spawn. Well, there should be like an F tier. She's not an F tier. I just getting that like that thought just for like putting Housing and Volo in the F tier, moving Astarion back to D. We'll say she's a C. Actually, no, we're gonna go B. We're gonna go B. We're gonna put her ahead of freaking Gale, not Gale, ahead of Will and Minsc. I think out of all of the dead three, she's the most like the most fun. Like she's just fun because you interact with her in a more unique way than the other dead three, not dead three, but chosen three. Like Gortash, you kind of meet him in you know at the what I forgot what it's called in Baldur's Gate at the little area. I'm having a brain fart when it comes to his character, not his character, but like the location, the Worm Way. You know, that's kind of like your only interaction with Gortash. Then when it comes to Ketheric, your interactions with him is just in Moonrise Towers. If you go to Moonrise and you see the whole little trial going on with Minthara and the goblins, and then if you talk to him, you know, before you fight him, and like that's your primary interaction with his character. But with Orn, you interact with her multiple times when you're in Baldur's Gate because she's fucking with you the entire time. Like you're talking to a blacksmith, it turns out to be her. You're talking to a dude who's dying. All spoiler alert, by the way. If you haven't got to Act 3, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. You got your warning. You're talking to a dead body, it's her. You're talking to this chick who's asking you about your love life, things like that. It's her. Like she's fucking with you the entire time you're in Baldur's Gate, like the actual city of Baldur's Gate. And it's a more dynamic and more unique way, and I love uniqueness for people to interact with someone from the chosen three, because the other two you don't interact with in this way. Theirs is more just straightforward dialogue. Speaking of Gortash, I don't know. C tier. I do think he's well acted by Gabriel Luca. He's a good character in terms of like, you know, the writing for it. You know, he's charismatic. He does give you like that douchey, annoying vibe that you want to punch him in his face. And that's just good writing. That's good writing, and it's good acting when you personally feel like you want to punch someone in a freaking face when you're watching them talk. I know. Yeah, I feel like there's not really much to say about Gortash when it comes to putting him in C tier, other than what's already been said. You know, I would say he's not the worst of the chosen three. I don't know, maybe he is. He might actually be the worst of the chosen three in terms of like how I feel about them personally. Yeah, I feel like I'm fine with that. Honestly, yeah. Okay, we're good with that. Raphael. Raphael's a high C. We'll say Raphael's a high C. C just means average, by the way. Like if you're looking at like a scale of 1 to 10, you got your 10, your 9, your 8, your 7, your 6, 5, 4-ish. So like it's still like average. There's a lot of interaction with Raphael. He's very well acted. I just don't think there's like a lot to Raphael to where it's like, all right, we gotta have Raphael be A tier, B tier. It's not that much going on Raphael as a character and personality wise to where like I feel like, all right, this guy has to be S tier because like this and this. It's like, no, he's kind of just there when it comes to like his presence. His missions are all great, like the House of Hope mission and him sending you to freaking go deal with freaking the demon dude. Like he has good missions and good interactions with Astarion if you have Astarion in your party. But like that's pretty much just where it ends with his character. The Emperor, Emperor boy. I feel like the only thing interesting about the Emperor is just one, he's a mind flayer, and two, again, spoiler alert, there's 2 warnings for you and a delay before I say what I'm going to say to further into spoiler alert. He's Baldur, and outside of like him being Baldur and outside of the whole mind flare thing, Emperor's just a voice in your head. Like he's not unique, he's not dynamic, he's not really interesting outside of who he really is, and just him being a mind flare. And then the way Act 3 plays out, spoiler alert, kind of ruins his character a little bit to me. Because like you have this whole thing with Orpheus where you're like, all right, we want to help Orpheus out, things like that. And his immediate reaction is, all right, well, fuck you. I'm just going to go side with the person who I want to kill to begin with. It's like that doesn't make sense from like a storytelling standpoint. You go through this entire story of this game for 60+ hours. And this guy's telling you like all these things about saving this city and protecting you from the absolute and abandoning the grand design and all this stuff just for him at the end of the game to be like, all right, I'm going to go join the side that we're fighting against because you're choosing to save someone who could be a great help. Because Orpheus is son of the comet. He's a massively powerful character, and his fear is that if we free Orpheus just want to instantly kill him. And it's like, then you talk to Orpheus and you settle things out, and he's like, all right, well, I'll help you out. It's like, it just like just the way the Emperor story ends kind of just ruins the Emperor, in my opinion. We got this guy's name, but I do want to see more of him. There's the guy who's carrying the lantern. Your interaction with him is just that scene of him carrying the lantern. You're talking to him, and you're going to ambush him with the Harpers. But I want to see more of his character. He's gonna be the first person we add to the want more of, because when you talk to Minthara, she talks about him a lot, and it just makes you more interested in learning about his backstory and him as a character. So I kind of just wish there was more of that character. Mistra, then the same department. I think I can easily just put her as freaking like B tier, because I do think the dialogue between her and Gale is enough to warrant it. But outside of like not her mission, but like outside of her dialogue with Gale, there's not a lot there. So definitely someone who we want to see more of. Counselor Flork, she's at the top of the want more of. I love Flork. Like there's a lot for her, enough where I could honestly, like there's enough dialogue interactions like saving her from the prison. There's enough there to like I would throw her into A tier. But I just wish there was more of Flork. Like I wish you could have her as a party member. I wish she could be like a romance option. There's a lot for Flork, where it's like I just wish there was more of Flork. So from what's in the game for her, she's A tier. But I want more. Like, so we're gonna leave her and to want more of them, even though these two, they're gonna want more because it's not a lot for them. For her is I want more because I literally just want more, like romance option, party member kind of stuff. Valeria, I'd say low C, mostly because your interaction with this character is in Act 3, and you kind of got to seek it out to even like have the interaction. Like you got to be involved in the whole murder quest line. You got to go willingly, talk to him, involved in it, because you don't even have to talk to him when you're involved in the murder quest line. and then you got to rescue him. During that quest line, like there's a lot that you voluntarily have to do as side content involving the character, and even when you're involved, the character is kind of like a throwaway character. But I do think the mission involving the character is cool, and I also think it is the dialogue is also like kind of unique. So I guess you could say low T, low C, or kind of either below or ahead of the Emperor. Kind of like where would you? Like, she does kind of play like the same kind of role as Volo. So I guess we'll move down to D since we are in place of low C, because I don't think Valeria is better than you have pronounce the name. I don't know, the floating elephant. Owlbear Cub, best boy. No explanations needed. This best boy. What was the name? Something Thorm. Like it started with a G. We're lapsing on pronunciations of names. D tier, more so. This is definitely a throwaway character. We can honestly put in the want more of. The reason why they're even on the list is because I think like the way that all the thorns or throms, the way all their boss fights play out is super unique and cool. So like that's why they're on the list. From just their interactions, they're on the list, but there's not a lot to them, if that makes sense. In fact, you can literally have a interaction with this boss where you like all three of them is the same way, so they're all three going to be in the D tier for this reason. I think she's more interested in freaking housing. But yeah, Lorican, C tier, kind of in the same department as like Gortasha, where it's like there isn't a lot there, and for the most part. But when you interact with them, they're dynamic enough to where you want to talk more to them. And whether you're playing a good guy playthrough or a bad guy playthrough, you're going to interact with him at some point. And he does have a lasting personality on you, depending on not even really depending on like what side of the fence you're on when it comes to Night Song, just in general. Orpheus, A tier. We're putting Orpheus as A tier. There's not a lot to Orpheus. Again, someone you really only interact with at the end of the game. But I think what exists, he's such a cool character. That's honestly though. Like we're just gonna be honest with Orpheus getting A tier just because he's cool. Like I literally have never played a monk character in any game ever. Played Baldur's Gate 3 once when it came out, my first character in Baldur's Gate 3 out of my 11. My first character made me play monk. Like after playing my first playthrough, I immediately made a monk character because of like just how cool the monk scenes were with the GIF. The GIF Sarai things with the monk faction of the GIF are called, because like remember when it comes to like the lore of D&D and Baldur's Gate, there's not just the GIF Yankee, there's the GIF Yankee and there's GIF Sarai. The GIF Sarai are like, again, if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but like they're more of like acidic monks, and they kind of like stick to themselves, and they still fight against mind flayers and grand design and things like that, but they don't really associate with the GIF Yankee, because the GIF Yankee they all follow Vlakiv. The GIF Sarai don't follow Vlakiv at all. They kind of see each other as traitors, things like that. I just think Orpheus is such an interesting and cool character. Like I literally made 2 monks because of his character. I made a monk in Final Fantasy 14 after my first playthrough in Baldur's Gate, because I was like, no, I want to play a monk in every game now, because Orpheus made monks look so freaking cool. And like he's a better character in a short time that he exists over the Emperor, which is kind of sad, because the Emperor's in the game the entire game, and then he's in the game for like the last few minutes of the game. But he's a better character, a more intriguing character, more interesting character than the Emperor, which is kind of sad, because the Emperor's in the game the entire game, and then he's in the game for like the last few minutes of the game. But he's a better character, a more intriguing character, more interesting character than the Emperor. Savarok. Want to put Savarok as a medium D. Medium D. I don't know. He's a cool character. There's not a lot. If you're doing the ball spawn missions, that's something like your interaction with him. But he does have interactions with Jaheira as well, and with Orn. I enjoy connectivity. So that's why he's there. Auntie Ethel. We're putting Auntie Ethel as a high C. Her plot line lasts, if you don't just like, even if you kill her because she comes back, full alert, But if you interact with Auntie Ethel at the Druid Cove, and then again when it comes to like the two dudes who's like harassing her, and then the tree house, there's a long standing like plot line involving Auntie Ethel, and it's like it's fun. It's a fun, and she's a very fun character. Take a shot. Someone say the word fun. Black. Ugh. I'm actually doing like a Gith playthrough. I haven't done any playthroughs where I side with Vlaakov, but this Gith playthrough I'm working on, we're going to side with Vlaakov. So I don't know how that's going to go, and if that will or wouldn't put her as a higher character on this tier list. But as she stands, after like my other characters have been through, everything, and every time we always choose to not side with her, I think Vlaakov's definitely like a high C, even though we're Auntie Ethel. She's so fun. Like I thought it was like hilarious the first time I told her something about being a fake god, and then she wipes her entire squad. But she's not even there. She's just I want to say a hologram or anything like that, but like she's kind of like she's an illusion. Like she's using the whole little Jedi freaking projection thing that like Luke does in that one movie that everyone hates. Like she's actually projecting herself to a location, and she still wipes her entire squad just because you called her a fake god. It's just cool to me. Vlaakov's a very interesting character. The backstory for Vlaakov, everything involving Vlaakov. Yeah, she's evil as shit, but still an interesting character. Now we're like Alfuria. I don't even know how to pronounce her freaking name. I don't even care. Jokingly, I don't care, but honestly, I do care. I think she's a good character. I put her ahead of Auntie Ethel. She's a C tier character. Again, just an example of C is just average, but like she's not good enough to be into the B tier entirely. It's funny, people during the early access, people didn't like her character, and it was actually like popular people to just kill her character off because bards are annoying. I think she's for what exists for her characters, actually like pretty nice. And also like the dynamic between her and Larissa. I think their name is it's either Larissa or Lorica, something like that. I don't know. One of those names, who's also on this list too. So it's like, might want to like learn her name. But they have like interesting dynamic. I think they're like the power couple of Baldur's Gate without even knowing they're a power couple. I interacted with her a lot, like both helping her with a song inside the Emerald Grove, and then like talking to her again when it comes to like Moonrise Towers, and then in Baldur's Gate. There's a lot of interactions involving her character, and things are just a good character. Vicana, I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Want more? You want to interact with her? Which during Shadowheart, when Shadowheart showed you her vision of like her past, and then obviously during Shadow, like the climax of Shadowheart's loyalty missions, and I feel like that's not enough. She seemed like she's such an interesting, intriguing character. Just want more. Look, it's Larissa or Lacrissa. Look, at some point we'll learn the name. I don't think she's as good of a character as Alfrea, only because we don't interact with her like in the same way. Like we kind of react to her in passing more so than like actual conversational. Like she's not even like part of the Emerald Grove when you don't do that entire quest line. She's like elsewhere. I think she says she's like off hunting or something like that, or out scouting, and then you come across her kind of like towards the end. I think you actually do see her once or twice, but like you don't really get to interact with her. She's kind of like just standing around, and like your actual interactions with her starts in Moonrise, and she like no, Cirrus is one thing. No, Cirrus is one who wasn't at Emerald Grove, but Lacrissa, you don't get to interact with her. You click on to talk to her, but she like has like a one line thing that comes up and it keeps walking. But after that, you talk to her, she starts like actually have like real dialogue, things like that, especially when anything involving her and Alfrea. Again, who's, by the way, like I said, if you play throughout the game, you interact with them enough, you find out that there's a thing going to be between them. I say because she's not interacting with enough, like with Alfrea, she's a D tier character. I would say below the Emperor. I do like her character. Kithrak Voss. I'm gonna say Voss is a high C. I want to say he's below Raphael, only because he doesn't have that, like, he's a good character at the beginning of the game. He has like all that confidence and whatnot, and your interactions with him in Act 2. Once you get to like Act 3, he kind of like comes off like again another sad boy, and it's like, all right, you said this confident Githyanki Kithrak and made him a sad boy in Act 3. Like, Corilla, definitely one of those characters you want more of, but there's enough to say she's at least better than everyone else. D tier, below average character, not awful, just kind of there. I don't think I didn't make an F tier because I don't think anyone's like actually an F tier character. I don't think anyone's like awful. Like F tier would just like, again, like if you look at it from like C being average and then D being below average, and F would just be like bad. There's no bad characters in this game. Dame Aylin, the Night Song herself, A tier. Head of Withers, ahead of Orpheus. The only thing keeping her out of S tier is there are some times I heard dialogue where I'm just like, girl, shut up. It's like she does get like a little too Thor. Like, let's go with that. She gets a little too much like Marvel's Thor. Whereas like a lot of her boasting and dialogue, you're just like, yeah, can you just shut up? Which I'm sure people who are watching this, I'm like, can you just shut up? But yeah, outside of like, those Thor-like moments, amazing character. Kind of in the same department as Floric, where it's like, I kind of wish you could romance her, kind of wish she'd be part of your party more than, the fight with against Catherine Thorm and being able to summon her when it comes to fighting the Absolute, and obviously side of her own quest line involving Lorcan. Amazing character otherwise. Maul C tier, just average. Maul's interactions with the player, you kind of feel like they wanted to do more with Maul as a character, and you get the whole contract of Maul that you find in House of Hope, the whole thing about her and Raphael. So something they wanted there to be Maul more Maul. I feel like they wanted to be more of Maul, but they didn't, pull the trigger on there being more with Maul. But the interaction that you have with Maul is enough. It's still good. She's probably one of the more, outside of Arabella, she's probably like the second most interacted with kid in the entire game, other than Arabella. Isabel, we'll give Isabel a B. We'll say Isabel's a high B. Definitely like her character. She's not as good as Aylin in terms of like me personally, how I feel towards her, but I do think she's a good enough character, and also one of the characters who you kind of wish was in your party. I think her interaction with Shadowheart when you first meet is kind of cute. It's like at the beginning of like Shadowheart's character, she is like a Sharon, and then Isabel's a Slew Knight. So like, you bring Shadowheart with you to talk to Isabel. She makes a comment about Isabel being a Slew Knight, and Isabel kind of like downplays it and makes something like Shadowheart's a child, which age wise, considering things, I think, I don't know, Shadowheart's a half elf. She might actually be older, but it's like, I don't want to spoil Isabel's story. I just want to like immediately mention something about Isabel's story that I just don't want to spoil, so we're not going to say it. But Isabel's a great character. I love Isabel. Roland, also a B tier character. And if you didn't get to Act 3, you probably like, what? How is Roland a B tier character? This is a lot of how you view a character based off your interaction with that character. If you interact with Roland throughout the entirety of the game, and you do it in a way to where you're not being a dick to the dude, he actually turns out to be like a pretty decent character. Like you first meet him at the Grove, and he's kind of like a whiny, strict asshole towards his siblings. When reality is he's just trying to like, protect them, and he's not trying to be an asshole. He's just being protective of his siblings. You meet him again during a party. He's like trying to do like magic tricks to like show off, and just being nice to the guy. You learn a lot about him, and you also just learn to understand why he does what he does, which is basically, again, he just wants to protect the siblings. Zevlor, C tier, medium C after Raphael. Just Zevlor is just kind of there in a way to where I don't even think he's even like I kind of want to have him higher because it's Zevlor and you do interact with him a lot. But from a character standpoint, it's kind of just there. He's kind of just there. Like he doesn't really have personality. He's kind of a coward, just a bit. He's a bit of a coward. He's the leader of the Tieflings when it comes to like that the faction of that quest line, but he's kind of a coward. He does do things in Act 2 to like alleviate him being a coward, but you still never get rid of that feeling towards him where it's like, you're kind of a pussy. Damon, he's another one of those characters who's kind of just an NPC in the strongest sense of the word NPC. He's a cool dude. I like the character. Urgir, I think it's how you pronounce his name. Urgir, I don't know. Demon dude. Let's go with that. We'll call him Demon Dude. Another one of those characters you can interact with where you can literally talk him into killing himself. You can talk him into killing his pet, talk him into killing his minions. He's a very interesting mission, interesting like situation. And then even when it comes to like interacting with him during the House of Hope mission, dialogue wise is non-existent. But I do think he's a cool character. The best boy, the best of best boys. Cazador. I'm trying to think to myself, because wherever we rank Cazador, we'll probably set him to the point of who is the best villain in this game. I will put Cazador at a Minsc and Roland. Cazador is great. It's not better than Orin. Orin might be the best villain to me when it comes to all the bad peoples, but Cazador's up there. He's so well acted. I love his design. His dialogue, even in that short bit of time that you deal with him, is just so, it's like a dagger in your heart and twisted. He twists like a motherfucker, especially if you're someone who actually likes Astarion. Like you want that guy dead. Like he's such a piece of shit, but in a very entertaining way. He's a wrestling heel who you want to cheer for. Let's go with that. He's a wrestling heel you want to cheer for. So I included, this is actually my character, not my character, but like one of my dream guardians. So all these are just like Googled pictures, and this is like an actual screenshot that I took. And the reason I would include the Dream Visitor, I'm gonna put this as the number one for what more of. I think it would have been way better if you actually could have had a Dream Visitor as like an actual character who you recruit to your squad, and not just someone who the Emperor uses as an illusion. I think it would have been a better storytelling. Me telling Larry how to write a story. It's not the intent, but I think it would have been cooler if the Dream Visitor was actually like an agent of the Emperor, who the Emperor was hiring to like, work with you and things like that. I just think it's just been like, I wanted more out of the Dream Visitor and not just, what was there. Because I feel like you have the character, you have the player waste their time creating a character who becomes a throwaway once he reveals who he is. And it's like, that's just a waste of potential. There's more potential when it comes to like the idea of a Dream Visitor or Dream Guardian. You could have like, here's what I would have did. I would have made the Dream Guardian like a strict paladin, like a straight up holy paladin who's just an agent of the Emperor, but also to imply with their guardian, they really, really, really want to protect you because it's their job by the Emperor to protect you. And the way I would also would make it, the longer you have them out of your party, that's their affinity for you gets lower because they're getting upset that you're not allowing them to do their job. Catholic Thorm. I don't think he's better. He's better than Gortash. That's definitely like the thing. I don't think he's better than Vlaakith though. I think Vlaakith is a better villain than Catholic. The thing about Catholic, he does have like a more interesting story in game than Vlaakith. There's like, again, this is depending on if you do explore Moonrise Towers, you read the books that you find about him, what happened with him, Isabel, and his family, and things like that. Definitely a dynamic dude. He does kind of give you that Saren vibe a little bit, because in Moonrise Towers, you can kind of convince him to not fight you if you have, if you pass the checks. And that reminds me of like Mass Effect 1 with Saren, where if you have enough Paragon and Renegade, you can convince Saren to like off himself. In the end, it doesn't work because he still transforms into being like, a Geth, not Geth, a Husk version of himself. And in the end, Ketheric does still become like that monstrosity who you gotta deal with. But it kind of reminds me of that. I think he's just overall good character, well voice acted, again, because all the characters in this game are well voice acted. But I do think Vlak is just a little bit ahead of him. We got his first name, another one of the Thorm boss fights that you interact with, where you, again, if you have enough skill checks, you can, convince them to basically just die without you having to freaking fight them. I think he's less interesting than the gold, the toll collector, but it was still like a fun scene, especially when having Shadowheart there. It's just a fun scene. Arabella, S tier. I said S tier, A tier. Arabella's A tier. She's a great character. Everything about Arabella's character is great, and also just intriguing. Again, I'm counting intrigue in my decision making when it comes to this tier list, because I'm so intrigued on where her story is going to go, or can go, if there's a sequel of the game or any DLCs, because she's everything that happens with her involving Jurgle and her powers and stuff like that. It's interesting, and it's like, what's next? And also, she's just a good character. Another one of the Thorm interaction fights when it comes to his family. Again, I'm blanking on the names of these characters. We're gonna put him ahead of Housing. Look. It has to happen. It has to happen. It has to happen. Let's go different color. It has to happen. It has to happen. I can't. I've been holding off from doing it, but it has to happen. Let's go with a color that's not a similar color of what we're dealing with right now. I feel like you can't see the letter. Go with blue. It has to happen. There, we made an F tier just for Housing. Made an F tier just for Housing. Again, similar when it comes to the rest of the family. They just their scenes are funny, especially his. His is probably the most funny. It's like you're getting drunk, and you're trying to like make him off himself, off getting drunk. So it's fun. Hope, B tier. I almost want to put Hope in A tier. Almost. I almost want to put her in A tier. So I will put her higher than Minsc. Thinking about putting higher than Cazador. I'm thinking about it. We're gonna move Orn to A tier. Move Isabel a little higher. Move Cazador higher. Move Hope higher. But still B tier. Hope's great. Again, personality, very bubbly, very outgoing. Her pacing is different from what you're dealing with at that time of the game, especially when it comes to the House of Hope mission. It's just fun. When I'm saying fun for this context, it's just her personality is fun. Elminster. Definitely one of the characters you want more of. I'm gonna put him in that category below Mistra, because I want more Mistra than I want more of Elminster. But I do think I want more of Elminster. If I was to ignore this tier entirely, and then he'd probably be C tier, but I want more. All right, that's it. That's our important characters tier list. At least people who I deem important. A lot of these characters I actually added myself. So I took like a tier list that I saw that has some characters, but didn't have enough characters. So I added like 30 more characters. So I was like, all right, I want to add all these people. I added all of them. I added freaking the Thorm peoples. I added Damon and Severok and the floaty elephant. Like I was just adding more people. I added Vlakov and Auntie Ethel. So to add more people, because I feel like there's definitely more than what that person have, like their tier list. I think this is, pretty much where I am mentally. I could see myself wanting Minthara higher. Same thing comes to Dame Aylin. It's just something about Dame Aylin that I'm just like so drawn to. So I can see like Dame Aylin and Minthara being like higher, but not entirely. Same thing comes to like honestly Ornn. I can see myself putting Ornn higher as well. But I think I like it like as is. I think I like it that way. That's our Baldur's Gate 3 important characters tier list. Just gonna call it a character tier list, not important character tier list. You know, obviously opinions are opinions. Since I know some of y'all gonna get angry and upset about it, and you know, downvote video, things like that. I don't care. You know, reactions are reactions. Like whether it's a like or dislike, the algorithm will feast upon it. It will feast upon it with a great scourge, regardless of what you do. So you can also have in the comment section below. You know, if you want to do your own tier list, you know, link it to me and I'll watch it. I'll look at your tier list video, or I'll, you know, see your tier list and, you know, give you a thumbs up and say like, you know, I like it or whatever. Opinions are opinions, and I'm a respect person. So let me know what your opinions are. Let me know, you know, who's your top 5 characters in Baldur's Gate or whatever. And you know, I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'll be boy NPC Gamer Archer. I'll see you when I see you. Follow me on Twitch. Link from box below. I'm out of here. Y'all stay safe. Become one another. Deuces.